أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ربي اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. O Lord, provide us goodness in this life and in the next. وصلى اللهم على محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين والحمد لله رب العالمين. Ameen. Welcome everyone. Today we are starting a new text, the rays, and we are going to start with the second ray on page 13. The link has been shared and you can follow along on the screen as well. So let's do this. The second ray, the final fruit of Eskişehir prison, the second ray of the 31st flash. In the name of God, the merciful, the compassionate. This ray was written 16 years ago at a time I remained alone in Eskişehir prison after my friends had been released. It was written at great speed with my own very deficient pen at a distressing, disagreeable time, and is therefore somewhat lacking in order. Still, I saw when correcting it recently that in respect of belief and the affirmation of divine unity, it is extremely valuable, powerful, and important. Sighed Nursi. This forms a seventh point about the 6 greatest names and is about the greatest name of God, the One. As in Ahad. Note, in my view, this treatise holds great importance for the significant and subtle mysteries of belief that it contains, unfold, and develop. One who reads and understands this treatise will save his belief, God willing. Unfortunately, I have been unable to meet with anyone here and have been unable to write out a fair copy myself. If you want to understand the treatise's value, read first of all the second and third fruits of the first station carefully and the conclusion at the end. And the matter in the 2 pages preceding that. Then study the whole of it slowly. Inshallah. So let's follow the directions of Said Nursi with reading the second and the third fruits. So let's move on to that page, which is, let's see, this is the first. So if you guys are following from your books, it's on page 19, the bottom, inshallah. So let's start from there. So again, page 19 of the rays. We were directed by the author to start with the second fruit of the affirmation of divine unity. Bismillah. The second fruit of the affirmation of divine unity. The first fruit Consider the most pure and holy one, the creator of the universe. Now the second fruit considers the universe and its essential nature. Yes, it is through the mystery of divine unity that the perfections of the universe are realized. It is through the mystery of divine unity that the perfections of the universe are realized and the elevated duties of beings understood. And the elevated duties of beings understood. And the results of the creation of beings are established. And the value of creatures known. And the divine purposes in the world find existence. And the instances of wisdom in the creation of living beings and conscious beings become apparent. And behind the stern, angry faces of the violent storms of upheaval and change, the smiling, beautiful faces of mercy and wisdom are seen, and the numerous existences of transitory beings, such as their results, identities, true natures, spirits, and glorifications, which they leave in their places in the manifest world before they depart, are known. I'm just going to share the link of this piece for reading. For those who joined in, it's on page 20. Wow, this is interesting. The result identities, true nature, spirits, and glorifications, which they leave in their places in the manifest world before they depart, are known. Furthermore, it is only through the mystery of divine unity that it is known that the universe as a whole is a meaningful book of the eternally besought one, and all beings from the ground to the divine throne are a miraculous collection of divine missives, and all of the realms of creatures are a magnificent regular dominical army. And all sorts of beings from microbes and ants to rhinoceroses, eagles, and planets are diligent officials of the pre-eternal sovereign. And since they act as mirror to and have a relation with that sovereign, the value of all things infinitely surpasses their individual value. The value of all things infinitely surpasses their individual value. And the answers are revealed of the unsolved, abstruse questions. Where do this flood of beings and these caravans of creatures come from? Where are they going? Why did they come? And what are they doing? Otherwise, these elevated perfections of the universe would vanish, and those lofty, sacred truths be transformed into their opposites. It is because the crimes of ascribing partners to God and disbelief constitute aggression against all the universe's perfections and its sacred truths and the elevated rights of beings. that the universe becomes angry at the disbelievers and idolaters. The heavens and earth become wrathful, and the elements unite to destroy them, overwhelming and submerging those who ascribe partners to God, such as Noah's people and the Ad and Tamud peoples, and the Pharaoh. In accordance with the verse, well nigh bursting with fury, which is from Quran chapter number 67, verse 8. Again, Quran 67, verse 8. Well nigh bursting with fury. Hell so rages and fumes at the disbelievers and ascribers of partners to God that it almost bursts apart. Yes, to associate partners with God is a terrible insult to the universe and a great transgression against it. By denying the sacred duties of beings and the purpose of their creation, it insults their honor. To illustrate this, we shall allude to one example out of thousands. For example, through the mystery of divine unity, the universe resembles a huge corporeal angel, glorifying and sanctifying its maker with hundreds of thousands of heads to the number of species of beings, and with hundreds of thousands of mouths to the number of members of those species, and with hundreds of thousands of tongues in every mouth to the number of organs, parts, and cells of those members. A wondrous collection of elevated creatures engaged in worship like the angel Israfil. Through the mystery of divine unity, the universe is also an arable field yielding copious crops for the worlds and dwelling places of the hereafter. The universe is also an arable field yielding copious crops for the worlds and dwelling places of the hereafter. A factory producing numerous goods, such as human actions, for the levels of the abode of bliss. And a movie camera with 100,000 lenses continuously taking pictures of this world to show to the spectators in the eternal realm and especially in paradise. To ascribe partners to God is to transform this truly wondrous, absolutely obedient, living, corporeal angel into a lifeless, soulless, unemployed, perishing, meaningless, wretched, futile collectivity, revolving in the tumult of events and storms of change and darkness of non existence, and to convert this strange, utterly orderly, beneficial factory into an idle, confused, unconscious plaything of chance, which is without product or result or function, to make it into the playground of deaf nature and blind force, a place of mourning for all intelligent beings, and the slaughterhouse of all living creatures, and a veil of tears. In accordance with the verse, to assign partners to God is verily a great transgression. That is from Quran, chapter 31, verse 13. Again, Quran, chapter 31, verse number 13. To assign partners to God is verily a great transgression. To associate partners with God, although a single evil, leads to such vast and numerous crimes that those who perpetrate it deserve infinite torment in hell. Anyway, since this second fruit has been explained and proved repeatedly in the illuminating lamp, we have cut short the long story here. A strange feeling and perception which drove me to this second fruit. It was like this. One time, when observing the season of spring, I saw that the successive caravans of beings, and especially living creatures, and the small young ones at that, which followed one after the other, and in a flowing torrent, displaying hundreds of thousands of samples of the resurrection of the dead, and great gathering on the face of the earth, appeared only briefly, then disappeared. The tableau of death and transience amid that constant, awesome activity seemed to me excessively sad. I felt such pity, it made me weep. The more I observed the deaths of those lovely, small creatures, the more my heart ached. I cried at the pity of it, and within me felt a deep spiritual turmoil. Life which met with such an end seemed to me to be torment worse than death. The living beings of the plant and animal kingdoms, too, which were most beautiful and lovable and full of valuable art, opened their eyes for a moment onto the exhibition of the universe, then disappeared and were gone. I felt grievous pain the more I watched this. My heart wanted to weep and complain and cry out at fate. It asked the awesome question, why do they come and then depart without stopping? These apparently useless, purposeless little creatures were being dispatched to non-existence before my very eyes, despite having been created, nurtured, and raised with so much attention and art in such valuable form. They were merely torn up like rags and thrown away into the obscurity of nothingness. The more I saw this, the more my inner senses and faculties, which are captivated by beauty and perfection and enamored of precious things, cried out, why does one take pity on them? Why does no one take pity on them? Isn't it a shame? Where did they come from? The death and ephemerality in these bewildering upheavals and transformations which persistently attack these wretched beings. As I started to utter fearful objections about divine determining and the grievous circumstances of the outer face of life and its events, the light of the Quran, the mystery of belief, the favor of the most merciful, and belief in divine unity all came to my assistance. They lit up those darknesses and transformed my laments into joy, and my weeping into happiness, and my pity into exclamations of, "Blessed be God! What wonders God has willed!" They caused me to declare, "All praise be to God for the light of belief." For through the mystery of divine unity, I saw that all creatures, and particularly living creatures, produce truly significant results and have general benefits. In short, all living beings, for instance, this adorned flower or that sweet producing bee, are divine odes full of meaning, which innumerable conscious beings study and delight. They are precious miracles of power and proclamations of wisdom, exhibiting their maker's art in captivating fashion to innumerable appreciative observers. While to appear before the gaze of the glorious Creator, who wishes to observe his art himself and look on the beauties of his creation and the loveliness of the manifestations of his names, is another exceedingly elevated result of their creation. A further elevated function of their creation is described in the 24th letter and is there serving in 5 ways the manifestations of dominicality and divine perfections, which necessitates the infinite activity in the universe. I saw that if it is a being with a spirit, besides benefits and results such as the above, since it leaves behind in its place in this manifest world its spirit, and in innumerable memories and other preserved tablets, its form and identity, and in its seeds, the laws of its being in a sort of future life, and in the world of the unseen and realm of the divine names, the perfections and beauties it has mirrored, its apparent death has the meaning of a joyful release from duties. It merely passes behind a curtain of death and is hidden from worldly eyes. I exclaimed, "All praise and thanks be to God." These genuine, powerful, faultless, utterly brilliant instances of beauty and loveliness, which are visible in all the levels of the universe and all its realms of beings, and have spread everywhere, demonstrate with complete certainty that the ugly, harsh, abhorrent, wretched former situation which the association of partners with God necessitates is impossible and illusory. For such ghastly ugliness could not exist hidden under the veil of such genuine beauty. If it was found there, that true beauty would be untrue, baseless, futile, and illusory. If it was found there, that true beauty would be untrue, baseless, futile, and illusory. This means that the association of partners with God has no reality. Its way is closed. It has become stuck in a bog. What it posits is impossible and precluded. Since this truth of belief, which pertains to the emotions, is explained in detail with numerous proofs in many parts of the illuminating lamp, we shall suffice here with this brief indication. And this was the second fruit, subhanAllah. So amazing reflections of the author. It's like you don't want to stop and you just want to keep studying, reading what he has to say. But I'll give it a pause here. And I'm sure all of you had some personal reflections going on. So if anyone cared to share anything that comes to you, any feeling that has been imparted, or if you want to express your state of being right now, I mean, we would like to hear from you. So I'll just give in a couple of seconds if anyone wants to raise their hand. So Hildar, go ahead, please.
My biggest takeaway from this is that denial in creatorship, and then more importantly, as he says in this section, you may believe in a creator, but a creator who doesn't have absolute power and will over his creation. So, in other words, divine unity. In other, all things look to and are on account of him alone. If that's not your worldview, there are more questions that cannot. There are more questions that arise that cannot be answered. So, in other words, as he says, you get bogged down. Because at every point you look in the universe, at every piece of creation, so many questions pop up. And the world becomes dark. So that's, whereas, the perspective of through the perspective of divine unity, all one's questions are answered. Questions about what things mean, what is the purpose of things, what do those things mean, what are they doing here, where are they going? So it's, in this regard, the world is very black and white, as he says, or as he sort of plays out.
Thank you so much for sharing out your reflections as well. It's it's interesting how even the author started off mentioning that everything, a tiny little microbe, anything that we come across and that we may neglect it, but everything has a spirit, or even the whole globe has a collective spirit, or we can say individual spirit. So we can go from macro to micro, micro to macro level of things. But then, it makes us question also our interactions. Like something I've been pondering over, like what am I interacting with at the end of the day? Because we're interacting with something, be it our thoughts, with physical things or anything. And so I think, this piece is a great start to making one firm in their existential journey, as in, that's true, this is exactly what I'm experiencing. I have all these feelings, emotions, I question about the reality of things. How is this presented to me? Just the changes of the season. I mean, just something very obvious, and it's very there's no denying in terms of what can be the source of existence of it, or how can I explain its existence. Cannot be random chance. It definitely points to there must be a single source of existence to all of it. So thank you for sharing that, and let's see if there's anyone else who would want to share out anything that they want all of us to reflect on, or just any comment you have. Look at that. Yes.
Yeah, so Bismillah. The second fruit of the affirmation of divine unity. So affirmation is a good word to focus on in this particular fruit, I feel. And what are we affirming? The divine unity. So, but there's a way that the author is, the way he's presenting it in terms of the universe. That's what he kind of says in the introductory paragraph, that the second fruit considers the universe and its essential nature. So there is an evidence being presented via the universe for me to affirm divine unity. So I know this text, as Maria was reading it, I felt was a little very straightforward as well as a little dense in its the way it was being presented. There were a lot. I mean, I understand this is kind of his fourth volume of the author's works, and there's some background already that is assumed. And going through the description of the universe and seeing all the duties, as the author kind of hints at, the observation that the human being makes. So the observation is important to do, and because through the observation of the universe is where we will make sense of that all these things are actually, he says there are missives, there are signs, they point to that they are coming from this absolute one, which is what their purposes, their duties are. However, even the aggressive sort of storms that may come, they may have the apparent face of aggressiveness to them, or the ugly face, but they are, the results that are coming about from them is, very strange and wonderful, that they're bringing about something that is unbelievable in to explain how that is happening. So the focus again was on as I go through the pages, how the results of the creation, what do they signify and what are they? So the results of the creation of beings, why are they here? And Suhail was highlighting those sentences, the questions that the author puts. All this flood of beings and caravans. One has to wonder. There's no way that. Maybe I have a background of divine unity, but the evidence, the way the author is presenting the evidence out there, is there for me to affirm it. Affirmation is happening, must happen through my observation. And I thought it was interesting how along the way he mentions the whole universe as a big angel, a huge corporeal angel. Maybe we can touch base on that later on, but yeah. So the first, at least, page of how the author again presents the case about, he has some phrases which he says, the universe as a whole is a meaningful book of the eternally besought one. All the beings from the ground to the divine throne are a miraculous collection of divine missives. So they are meaningful. They are bringing the news of the maker of the universe. Universe is a book of the one whoever is bringing this meaningful universe into being must be an eternally besought one, the one who can, the absolute kind of creator, to bring such a kind of work, art, that is, we are all witnessing. And it says all sorts of beings from microbe, and Faria was pointing on that as well, the microbe to and ants to huge elephants, rhinoceroses, planets, the whole astrology in terms of the planets and the stars, all the whole solar system are diligent officials. Somebody has employed them or sent them, and that is the pre-eternal sovereign, the one who is in charge, the owner of this universe. So they all act as for me to affirm this, how everything goes back to this divine unity, this confirming this mystery of divine unity.
Which is the necessary existent one, right?
Right. And the value of all things infinitely surpasses, this was an interesting phrase, the value of all things
Where is it?
infinitely surpasses their individual value. It's in the second paragraph where he describes, furthermore, is only through the mystery of the value of all things infinitely surpasses their individual value.
Oh, yes.
Because they are all pointing to their absolute source.
This is a good point.
By themselves, there's no value, there's no owner, but then everything, the value just is there now in every creation. Everything that is there gets the value by this attributing it to the owner there, the absolute sovereign.
This is amazing.
So that's why he says, otherwise, all those elevated perfections, the value of the universe would vanish if there was no sovereign it can be attributed to. What a waste if there is no sovereign or
some governing body to anything that we see, like a ruler, king, or something.
Yeah.
And then I need to know that
the whole order, the way it is coming and going.
Interesting.
Why did they come? There must be a purpose. Everything must have a purpose in their existence.
And that's how the answer gets answered as well. The questions get answered also. Like you're saying, when we know that there must be these interactions cannot be just random events or things. And everything gains its value when it's connected to the sovereign. And the answers are revealed of the unsolved, I think, unsolved questions. It's painting an good picture of what the universe is all about, transience all around us. I mean, this is what we experience. Transient, everything is passing, going. And that's really what we experience also, just like that verse, I love not those that set. That's the human journey. This is what we experience, but it is through these experiences, state of being, that I can transform my state of being into something that brings in value to my existence, that makes it more meaningful. Wow, this was good. Thank you for the comments this far. It's anyone else wants to make some remarks? You know what's well, feel free to raise your hand at any time. It's this verse. I was trying to understand the English of it. Like it says, it means, well, nothing bursting with fury.
Perhaps you can bring the words up.
Oh, okay, good one. That is Quran chapter 67 verse 8. Quran 67, 8. That's chapter mark. Somebody posted something also on the chat. Let me see. Okay, let's see. Somebody wants to see something. So is there something of, Brother Adam has a question. Is there something of emphasis on the all things versus the individualness of things?
It's a good question. All things versus the individualness of things. So I think you're referring to that sentence, the value of all things infinitely surpasses their individual value. I think that's a good point too. If people have comments on that, we can discuss that.
Sure.
Because it will be helpful to everyone. So Adam, if you have anything, you can also share.
I think what I understand is the author is saying that things gain value when they're associated to something. Anything would gain its value when it's attributed to something. It can either be attributed to itself, it can be attributed to randomness, but when it's attributed to something not of the nature of this universe, then it just surpasses everything. It's I think it's then things become it brings in value to my existence as well, or things gain more value for me as well when I know who the actual source is.
Right, and even the sentence before that, I think, kind of helps in there. Mm-hmm. That every being acts as mirrors to and have a relation with that sovereign.
That's a good point.
So it's building on this, with the all things they all act as mirror by themselves, their individualness.
That's a good point.
There is not much, but if they act as a mirror, then that individuality, which basically is transient and nothingness, only has to be connected with the absoluteness to become valuable. But I saw Adam had his comment. He wanted to speak.
Well, go ahead, Brother Adam.
Yeah, no, that's all of these points were good, and so what I was pointing to was, it seems as though the text here is trying to bring our attention to more of a broader view. Maybe that's my question. Is the method he's using one that says, look at the things in the totality of them, they fit a purpose? At the individual level, they do fit a purpose, of course, but it's in the totality of them that their individual purpose also is defined. So because of the emphasis on plurality, on not plurality, but like plural, there's beings and plurals, right? Even again, beings, identities, true natures, spirits, creation. The singular part, and I may be wrong in my assessment, but you can tell me, or not wrong, but like you can share your thoughts if you don't see it. But as though putting emphasis on the numerous or plural or the all things, but also at the same time one thing, like the whole universe, one. And like even the example which comes later, the corporeal angel, like one huge corporeal angel. that's one, or single in a sense, but within it is this plurality, whatever you want to call it, and those are all together doing something and acting in accordance with something that gives them definition, also gives us definition of how to see what's happening, or it can be like a entryway to seeing or experiencing this divine affirmation, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think also basically, as you said about the angel, he does make a statement also about a wondrous collection of elevated creatures engaged in worship. So I would love to hear if other people have their comments as well on this. Anybody?
Like, pretty much you cannot separate any thing in the universe from the rest of it. So things are defined with their constituent part. So if I were to define something independent from the rest of creation, that I don't know, that won't even lead me anywhere. Like I cannot define anything. I'm thinking right now. I cannot define a particle independent from the rest of the universe. Rather, if I were to define a particle, then it has to be A, in connection with the rest of the universe, and then B, it needs to be attributed to something as far as its existence is concerned. So I think looking at the picture also from like a bigger picture in terms of how things are coming into existence, and at the same time how this is coming into existence, how the tree is coming into existence, and at the same time how's the fruit or the seed coming into existence. I don't know, I'm just sharing out a little bit, but if anyone wants to add on to something. Okay. Because everything is in need to be given existence, so then it becomes a collection of that it becomes a collection of worship in terms of like that everyone's tongue is utterly what do you say, is uttering, I'm in need of to be given existence. So this I think realization in itself helps one see, or helps one confirm the existence of a necessarily existent one. Or it also helps one to not fall into the trap of attributing divine qualities to anything of the universe. Let me see, there's something on the chat.
You know them, so that's
Can you
fine.
repeat the question? Okay. So
Adam, I think it's on the chat, right?
You can pull it up again.
Question. The question was about the emphasis on all things versus the individualness of things. So Sohail, did you see the question? But generally what I'm getting in terms of the idea here is like when we look at the things in the universe, there's not just one thing, it's multiple things that we are being exposed to. And it's not just one perfection, but there are many perfections, that the qualities are numerous, that the universe is kind of being a mirror to. Right? So the reflections, you see all sorts of different various, as Adam was kind of hinting at that also. Their existence, and then their form, shapes, the purpose, their duty that they're doing, all kind of perfections are being highlighted. And that is what constitutes, this, their relation to the sovereign. So, and I see Brother Ali's hand up. So please go ahead, Brother Ali.
What attracted my attention is the things, the way we understand worship. Belonging to human beings. I mean, as human beings, what worship is.
Sorry, your mic is a little sounding muffled. Yeah, is it possible to get a clearer sound?
Let me see, but mic. All right. Now, do you think how about now? I don't know what.
It's better, yeah.
No, maybe I'm too close to because I'm checking the text at the same time. Two things. One is worship. Our understanding of worship is around human worship, but we have to expand it, because the author in this text is analyzing what is going on in the universe in contrast to what his feelings expect them to be. His feelings love them, and his feelings don't want them to disappear. And then he says, I started questioning their fate. Why these beautiful things are going into apparently annihilation. And this analysis brings him to understand that this universe has an owner, and this owner must be an absolute one. Of course, as at the beginning, you emphasized on it that Asim said, this is the 4th volume of now his writings, so we have to be prepared that this universe creator must be an absolute one. So this absolute one, because of it, he is absolute, he must be unique one. It means it cannot be numbered or described. So this unity of the creator, it comes to his mind and responds back to his feelings, saying that, look, these things here are concrete angels. Why? Because they worship. So this is an interesting concept. The beings are worshiping the absolute creator or their creator by making glorifications, by declaring his absoluteness, being in the service of describing his qualities to conscious beings. So this service that they perform in this world, as far as human beings are concerned, is the worship, daily worship of God. That is how they worship God. So in the universe, there is nothing which doesn't really worship God. Nothing. Everything declares his absoluteness, his perfection, his infiniteness. Everything. This declaration of the creatures is their worship, and as human beings, we have to worship God by presenting this representation of the creatures out there, what they present through their existence. We have to understand them and grasp their message, and then respond back to the Creator alongside with the creatures, together with them. Like when we perform our worship, maybe in the form of an prescribed worship, or in the form of an reflection, maybe in the form of a remembrance of God in our own being, which is possible for us. We have the memory, we are given the capacity, we have feelings to taste them. So we have to say, look, the universe is performing their worship according to their dispositions, their capacity. I have to present my worshipful attitude according to my capacity, which is my understanding must declare, my feelings must cry out, express whatever they feel. And my body also demonstrate that it is also joining the worship of the universe together. That is real worship from our side, but from as far as we are concerned, the others also continues the worship through the way they are created by fulfilling the mission they are given. This makes the universe turn into as the text says, a corporeal angel. Why? Angel represents the idea that receives the command, receives the duty, and executes it, fulfills it with no exception, with complete submission, with no rejection, no neglect as well. So it means the universe is doing this. That is why the universe, as far as the functioning, or as far as the duty it is functioning, looks like a concrete angel, because it may seem to be that they don't have conscience with us, but the mission they perform have conscience, has conscience. The mission they perform is a conscious mission, conscious performance. For example, I will use my very conventional, simple example. The book, because the universe is a book, really meaningful book. If someone doesn't accept that the universe is an owner, it's a conscious things are going on here, deliberate activities are going on here, and the worshipful activities are going on here. If someone doesn't see that, it means the universe has no meaning, let alone worship. They don't even accept the worship if they don't recognize that the universe has a creator. So a person in this position turns the universe into a collection of atoms, or the matter, happen to be like this, meaningless, like seeing the book as a collection of papers, paper sheets. So it is nothing, but when you accept that it is a book, has meaning in it, and the author is speaking to you, conveying his message, her message to the reader. So pay attention to the meaning. What happens? The book starts speaking to the reader. And you get engaged, emotionally engaged with the knowledge or the message the reader receives from the book, and he values the book. The book is so meaningful, and this believer, as the author says, if someone looks at this book as a collection of sheets, paper sheets, and says it is meaningless, and the man says, if it is meaningless in your eyes, the book will get really fury, I mean, angry with you. He will really, it is a beautiful way of contextualizing the verse here that which says, "Tekadu temayyazu min al-ghayz," when I bursting with fury. It means hell is bursting with fury, but he puts it in the context of the universe is angry with them. He uses somewhere this expression. The universe is angry with them. Everything in the universe is angry with them because that is an insult to the quality of the worship they perform. For example, can you imagine a person takes the book and says, it has no meaning, it's just a paper, the author is there. What do you think the author will say? Of course, the author's reaction is different, but the book itself, not materially, but you understand that in an immaterial way, or the meaning side, the book is really angry with this man because the man is insulting the book, insulting the knowledge in it, insulting the mission the book is performing. And of course, we can imagine that if the book was like a human being, it will really get angry with this man, fill up with fury. That's why Quran describes hell. That attitude of this person, which ends up in the next creation in the form of hell, whatever it is, but this anger of the universe cannot be satisfied to the attitude of this man. So these are a beautiful description of the universe and human feelings and how we are satisfied and really cool down within ourselves and receive the serenity, peace within ourselves only by seeking refuge with the belief in the unity of God. Otherwise, human beings cannot really bear what is happening in this world. That's why I feel that now, for example, in everybody, not necessarily the believers, they propagate love for animals. Yeah, okay, we have to love for animals, but they are going to die and disappear. What can you do for the ones you love? If they don't believe in the divine unity, it means the unity of the Creator, they are helpless. They can do anything. They can only feed an animal until it dies. And when it dies, it disappears because they don't have the answer to this question. They are going to perish away. What can you do? You cannot stop it. But your love for the animal ends up with nothing. Because at the end, this animal, is going to disappear and perish forever. Do you have any solution, any cure for this desire, bursting desire within yourself? No. That's why they don't talk about it. That's why they don't bring into discussion this aspect of the creation. They say, oh, that's natural, how it is. If it is natural, why do you take care of the animals then? Because you have the feeling already included within your factory setting. So why do you reduce it to only the very short lifespan? Very limited animals like dogs and cats, especially dogs in this civilization now. You know, sometimes okay, I end up with a joke. If someone is driving next to me, and I make a joke saying, if crossing a person with an animal, a dog usually, of course, most the dog. So I say to the driver, hey, be careful with the dog. Human is not important. This is the civilization, what it presents to us. Love dogs, love animals, but they have no cure for the very fundamental, how do you say, pain that the things you love, maybe your mother or other animals, when they call it nature will die. It continuously going into death, and they become nothing. They cannot do anything by themselves, and they cannot solve the problem that their feelings are bursting for. Thanks to, as the author says, thanks to the belief in or awareness in the necessary existence of the one who owns everything. He is absolute and nothing will vanish. They are fulfilling their purpose and going. For example, taken away. For example, when you are reading the book, what you do, you read one page and then turn to the next page. What happened to the first page? It is not within your vision now, the first page you read. It is not within your vision now, but the page that you read left their meaning, excitement, whatever you got out of this learning, with you. It is with you. And also the page turned to a next page, although it is not the scope, within the scope of your vision, but it still exists. And all the knowledge is transferred to you, but at the same time, all the knowledge transferred to you through the previous page is in you, and it didn't go into disappearance, but it is there. It is still within the, how would you say, within the arena of, or area of existence, which is beyond the limits of our vision. That's what the reality of it. If you believe that, the book this collection of papers is in fact a book, and the author of the book has the knowledge, and he is transferring his knowledge to us as much as our capacity allows us, page by page by page. And that is how we become acquainted with the author's knowledge, and to get to know which kind of person this author is. Thank you, because I am really amazed with the psychological analysis of reality of human beings in front of the universe, which is made and presented to us in this section that we read. Thank you very much.
MashaAllah, Jazakallah khair, Brother Ali. This was beautiful reflection. It's it's just hard to formulate one's thoughts to summarize it, but I think a lot was shared, and it's also a matter of what are we interacting with, because it's really the meaning that stays with us, but that understanding, it's in existence, but I communicate with it. So it's also how much am I communicating with the universe, and then when the understanding is brought into existence, then that meaning stays with us, but like how? Just not within me, not within my body or particle, but it's even the meaning, it's not of the nature of this universe. And that's something that, oh wow, it's amazing actually. I don't know, just some thoughts that occurred, and yeah, and what you were saying about what's happening within the human being, the author is sharing like with what I see in the universe, and then what's happening, the contrast between my feelings, my human feelings, and what I see happening is reconciled, in other words, or it's my observation of the universe helps me make sense of the feelings that are imparted onto me, or I can utilize these feelings for to tap into the source of existence of the feelings. So just wanted to share in some thoughts that occurred. And anyone else wants to make a comment or say something? At any time, just feel free to raise your hand. So I think we brought up that verse. It would almost burst asunder with rage whenever a troop is cast into it. Its keeper asks them, has no honor come to you? I think the verse about which the author brought up, well, nothing bursting with fury, as in things are not how everything is worshipping its source of existence, and me just ignoring the universe as just like a dumb piece of matter, then it's an insult not only to creation, but more so to the creator of this creation. And yeah, that's I think that's my brief takeaway on this verse.
Yeah, basically the example of the book. If I just take it as piece of paper, hardwood, ink, and not seeing that the author is trying to communicate with me. So then as Brother Lee said, that if the book becomes a living being and can, it'll be like, what are you doing to me? This is the universe is the book, and there's a meaning and is communicating with me, and that's how it ties to, as the worship part of, and the angels, the whole universe being seen as the angel, because there's that meaningful side of the angel is just continuously worshiping. That's the duty of the universe. And me as the observer, if I need to read that as a book and see that meaningful side of the worship, and that if everything is worship, it should prompt me also to attach my being in worship, right? When you see everything else in creation, is the whole universe is doing that. Otherwise, if we don't see it, that is like the insult to the universe, and that's when the universe gets angry at my attitude.
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing? Start reading the book. It's
furious.
The author of the book is communicating with me to start reading it, but yeah.
This is interesting. Yeah, you're right. So, like, the universe gets angry with, obviously, if you're not reading it for its purpose, then I'm just trying to make sense of the verse. It's very much speaking now that things burst out with, like, being furious or angry, like, hello, can you not see this? Hello, we're not just random acts. You're not reading creation. Which is pointing to its creator. I mean, this is a must, which is pointing to its creator. Otherwise, reading creation by itself, yes, it's a first step, definitely. But what does this interaction points to? It's really pointing to its source of existence. And yeah, that was alhamdulillah. Thank you for the comments. Let's look into this is very interesting. Even the other verse is a lot of pinpointing on, in accordance with the verse, to assign partners to God is verily a great transgression. So a lot of, bursting out transgression in terms of, like, I'm not utilizing my existence or the existence of anything to its purpose. So obviously things speak.
Right.
like you said, the universe gets angry, and then, like, not just for anger's sake, but it's really to draw my attention, as in, what am I up to? And yeah, and what's it?
Creatively made that.
Right. So there is nothing in the universe that you cannot. You must interact with everything. Okay. And well, let me see. So Farah, you have a question. What was the significance of representing it as a corporeal angel? I might have missed it. So the universe being a corporeal angel means, as in, how we use the example of the universe being a book.
This physical material has pages in it, and the universe. Will you look at the sky, the plants, the trees, the human beings? They all have a physical component to them, but they are all meaningful. So they're all within my sight, and I can read their meaning. This is what the corporeality points to. Corporeality has a worshiping corporeality. So the whole angel aspect, having a corporeality, is that they are all, in their being, in their existence, they are all worshiping. Everything is in the universe is worshiping.
In other words, worshiping as in bringing meaning to me. That is, if I choose to extract that meaning. Because the meaning is there. I mean, the worship, everything is worshiping in worship mode. But if I choose to interact with it in such a way And then I can get the meaning, and the meaning is what stays with me, even with the meaning side. I'm interacting with something not of the nature of this universe. So, so Farah, do you have any more? Okay, I see Ali Murmur. Your hand is up. Go ahead, please.
That's a good point, actually, to bring up to our attention. It is interesting. We are not really used to seeing the material things as an angel. That's a pity for me. But materialized angel, because let me again give an extremely simple example as we usually use. For example, I don't know, you can say, I don't know, my usual example is mango again. So when you look at mango, you see just matter, collection of atoms. That's matter. But do you like angel? Sorry, mango? Because of it is matter, or because of it is beauty, it is smell, it is taste, it is nourishment, it is being presented to you, packed as a gift, that it is an honor to you to receive it. Look, all these qualities make the mango is valuable. If these qualities appear in the body, corporeal body of a mango, what are you going to do with it? It is worthless. So we have to see the mango as taste, nourishment, especially being a present, a gift, wrapped up, decorated, beautified, and also a seed in it to promise, don't worry, when you eat it, it won't disappear from existence totally. It promises you through the seed that you will get even more. Don't worry about it. Utilize it, read it, listen to the message it brings to you about its absolute creator, because we know that there is no single thing in the universe existing alone. Everything exists within the whole context of the universe. We cannot think of anything existing on its own individually. We can't. The Adam asked this question earlier on, and our friends responded to it. You cannot think anything individual in this world. You have to speak always in terms of plural form. Why? Because when you say something, anything, a mango, it should bring into my mind the picture of the whole universe. As the universe is put in such an order that as a result of this working order, of course, act of creation, presenting the mango as a result of the order, the actor, the creator, has all established in this universe. That is what the universe is. So I have to think of everything, not only the creatures like plants, animals, or anything we eat, we benefit, but at the same time, we use the technology, for example, the human-made things, as a result of the fruit of the order of the universe. That is a gift from us as well. If you are using a computer or telephone, any smartphone, or any kind of devices, it is a gift from the creator, but you don't value it You don't value any device because of its material value at all. The function it performs, that makes this device valuable for you or for me. And these functions represents the meaning ingrained in them and the message about its maker, its designer. So the maker and designer has received this functioning side of the machine from the order of the universe. The order of the universe prepared the means to this engineer or designer to make this for you. So the origin of the beauty of this machine, the function of this machine, again, the one who established the order in the universe, or I mean, universe is the order actually. So there is no universe and the order in it. No, this is the order, the whole universe. So we have to understand that every single thing is a corporeal angel preparing the news to us. It is the perfect understanding of the universe. Everything, regardless of it is plant or animal or something, stars in the sky. No. Human-made things also are angels. Can you communicate with them? Because their aspect, in their structure, what you see, the meaning and the message comes to you, and within your body structure, there are senses that perceive all this meaning, communicate through their angelic side of the meta, it means corporeal angel, with your feelings, which is also body. Your body has these feelings in it. So really take out, strip off your materiality, corporeality, and the things out there, their corporeality, and communicate with them through your spirit. Then you will say, peace be upon you, assalamu alaikum, comfortably. That consciousness represents the consciousness of belief in divine unity. It is beautiful, mashallah. Thank you. I'm excited with, this section is beautiful and really satisfying my spirit as well. I am sure you are also sharing this feeling. Thank you.
Alhamdulillah, yeah, indeed, this is a very delicious fruit. Thank you for sharing your reflections. And we're out of time. So, there's a lot. I mean, we can go on and reflect more. So next, inshallah, Saturday, we will proceed with the third fruit. And we can end it here for today. Thank you all for coming in, joining this beautiful gathering and sharing your comments and just being here.
3 o'clock tomorrow and onwards. 3 o'clock. We will meet at 3.
Inshallah.
Yeah, everybody knows, but just to make sure. Thank you.
No. So yes, inshallah. Thank you again. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Subhanaka la ilma lana illa ma 'allamtana innaka antal alim al-hakim. Glory be unto you. We have no knowledge save except that which you've taught us. Indeed, you are all knowledgeable, all wise. Wa akhru da'wahum anil hamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Bi hurmati sir